Hey everyone, welcome to Buzzing About Romance, a quick shot of romance. I'm Becky, and joining me for this quick shot is Leah. Hi, Leah.
Hi, Becky.
So I have to say, this episode isn't going to drop, I think, until June, but we are reading and recording this at the beginning of May, but I read this in April. April was a really emotional book month, and now all of you people are getting to listen to these emotional book reviews.
April killed us. Honestly, I think every other book I read was emotionally draining.
Yeah.
I was in book hangover hell this for the month of April.
But the reason I bring this up is when everybody is like, "Oh, what are your best reads of the year?" And when every book comes out of April, you now know why.
Yeah. There was a lot of good books in April, but that's the thing, they were all emotionally over the not even over the top. They were a lot. I cried. Well, I tear up at books, but I had ugly tears a couple times.
But it was not unnecessary emotion or unnecessary angst. So part of the reason that I felt like it was really important that we do quick shots of romance about these is because, well, some people might say, "Oh, those are really angsty reads."
But
They're not angsty. They're just really emotional that give us some peeks into souls and maybe even a little insight into yourself. And that's this book here.
Yes, this book, honestly, it got me in the feels. And no, I emailed Marie Johnston after I finished it, because I actually am on her ARC team. And so I get the books really early. And so I emailed her my review links, and I sent her a message. I was like, you hit me in all the feels. And I don't know how I feel about that.
So on this quick shot of romance, we're reviewing Make Me Exhale by Marie Johnston. This is book 5 in the Oil Barrons series. This series can absolutely be read as standalones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you misread this series, didn't you?
I did. You can find the synopsis to this book on our On the Shelf show notes at buzzingaboutromance.com. We're kind of doing that a little right now. We're not giving you the synopsis reads just because we'd rather take the time to tell you more about the book and our feels. And I got lots of them for this one.
You do have lots of them. I do too. But this book was released March 10th of 2023. The tropes are small town, age gap, grumpy sunshine. It's a foodie beer romance, DIY. It is a slow burn.
Close proximity, because they're co-worker-ish.
Well, he is working for her. It is the final book in the Oil Barrons series. It's not the end of this world, though. She is spinning off, and it is an interconnected standalone. Isla, who is the heroine, is the sister of the previous book's hero. The put out percentage is 59%, and this is a new piece of the quick shot of romance. Is there a third act breakup? Yes, there is.
Yeah, there was. I'm still not sure I'm okay, except, so with this piece of quick shots of romance, we're going to tell you yes or no, but we are not going to spoil things. But we've noticed a trend lately when people are asking for book recs, they want to know if we're going to give if there's a third act breakup or not.
Yeah, because it's big on topic right now. Is the third act breakup necessary? And we recently did an episode about third act breakups and if we like them and all of those.
Becky needs them. Okay, so let's talk about this book. Yeah. Let's start with Isla Barron. She is the youngest of Cameron and Naomi's children and has recently inherited her trust fund at the age of 25. College graduate. She is their youngest child. And her parents are not
warm.
Okay, but I will say, do the parents have their own book?
No.
Okay, so the parents kind of through their children's books have their own little background character arc.
They do. There's a lot of character growth for the parents.
There was, but so as a parent of older teens and almost a 20-year-old, finding that line of being parent or guidance is very difficult. When do you stop momming? When do you stop trying to direct them in the way you think they should go? And when do you start to let them fall? And For Cameron and Naomi, they just want to control. They don't want to let go. They
Hmm.
want to say in everything. And the only right way to do anything is their way. I could relate to them. I do not like them, but I could relate.
Well, and I think that that's the thing. Like, you can relate to them, you can relate to their choices, but there are some things, some choices that they have made in the past that you're like, wow, these are terrible people.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk about Isla's character, just herself, without her parents or anything.
Hmm.
She is young. She has ideas. She has hopes. She has dreams. She is not aimless, but everybody kind of dismisses her.
It's, I don't even think they dismiss her. They don't see her. Like, she's there, but they don't really pay attention. Like, she is driven. She has a goal. But she's been kind of pushed to the background for so long that she doesn't know how to get out of it.
Well, and there's this conflict between her parents, and she has a half brother and a full blooded brother, and there's conflicts between the parents and the brothers,
Hmm.
and the half brother's not even really in the family circle with mom and dad, and the other brother has finally stood his ground and said, I'm moving forward without you. You cannot control me. And has been more um
Open.
staunch too with like his trajectory. Like he had a plan, he went with it. He versus Isla kind of played her plans of her future close to her chest.
Hmm.
She came home, graduated from college, and her parents looked at her and thought she was aimless without plan because she didn't open herself up. And I feel like in this family dynamic, she was kind of the child. It is best to be seen and not
And not heard.
heard. And she never knew how to find her voice.
Well, and I think part of it too is, so she is in charge of the farmers market in this small town, and her dad has a hard time letting her take charge. Like,
But
he has a
she's not
hard time
assertive
letting go.
either.
She's not assertive, and she's just one of those things where, like, she gets frustrated, but she doesn't stand up for herself. So she has been, but it's one of those things where it's happened so much that she doesn't know how to stand up for herself. And I think that's the biggest thing, is like her older brother like finally like made the decision of, I am an adult. I can make my own choices. The choices that they forced on me in certain aspects was wrong because they blamed people that had no like control over the situation. And so Stetson is like, I'm done allowing them to do this. And he set boundaries.
My heart, I spent a lot of time with my heart broken for Isla. I
Hmm.
saw a lot of myself in Isla. She is totally
Yeah.
the person that is alone in a crowded room.
Yeah.
She doesn't have anybody. She had her best friend, but her best friend is now married to her brother and they have a baby and she doesn't want to intrude. She doesn't want to constantly text them because she knows that she's working and she has a family
Right.
and a farm and it's a lot. And I think all of us have been that person where you're feeling a little lonely, but you don't take that step to reach out and say, hey, what's going on? Do you guys want to have dinner tonight? You don't
Hmm.
because you don't want to be a bother. And that's Isla. She didn't want to be a bother to anyone. And there's this really impactful scene in the grocery store.
Yeah.
Isla is buying groceries and she overhears a conversation between her cousins' wives.
Hmm.
And they're talking about a family barbecue. They frame it as a family barbecue. Everybody is getting together. Everybody will be there, kids and adults. And Isla hurries up and pushes out of the aisle so that they don't see her. But then ends up one of the wives whose house the party is going to be at is, or is it her sister in law?
I think, well, yeah, I think it's Kennedy.
Kennedy. So it's actually her half brother's wife. The Kennedy invites Isla last minute
Mm-hmm.
Because, and Isla feels, and I feel it too, like she was only invited because they know she overheard.
Yeah, it was totally a pity invite. And it's one of those things where like I know how that feels,
Yeah. It's
and
not a
it's not
good
a good
feeling.
feeling.
No. And as much as now, Isla, you would think like, it's kind of poor little rich girl, but she's never down on herself. She just, it forces her to close herself off even more so
Mm-hmm.
she doesn't run the risk of being hurt.
Well, and there's a moment with her best friend like who feels really bad that this is happening, but like when you're a new mom, it's overwhelming. But at the same time,
It is overwhelming, but if you,
but
having
at the
read
same
her
time,
book and all the
the
stuff,
relationship that they had, it was very frustrating that it happened the way that it did.
but I felt like even she and Stetson treated Isla like an afterthought.
Mm-hmm.
And and again, I understand we're all consumed, when you're a mom, you're consumed with your kids. Like
Yeah.
all of these characterizations, the way they were written, they all make sense. It makes for an impactful story. Um, and it deals with a lot of big emotions, which I love in a romance book. I love when we get these big emotions that are really authentic.
Mm-hmm.
We've been the young mom. We've
Yeah.
been the person left out. We've been
Mm-hmm.
the daughter who's holding the expectations. Like, we've done all these things. And to read in a book, it gives you kind of a little boost of like, I'm not alone. And I love
Yeah.
that in a romance story. I like that the way this is written by Marie Johnston, I feel a little less alone today than I did before I read it.
Well, and one thing I really like about this book is the fact that, like, as the book progresses, Isla, like, she learns how to assert herself. She learns how to stand up for herself. She learns that her opinions matter and they are important, but it is a gradual thing. It is not like all of a sudden she's like, I'm going to stand up for myself. Like, it takes almost the entire book for her to, like, see and recognize, like, I can do this. Like, I am capable. Like she believed in herself and her business plan, but she did not believe in herself in like her personal aspect. And that was the biggest thing. She has such a transformation from this in like she can't stand up for herself. It's not that she doesn't have a backbone, because she did. She just did not put herself out there
Yeah.
and say, this is what I need you to do for me, or I need you to not do this for me.
Yeah.
And I like that a lot.
So let's talk about McCoy Cunningham.
Yeah.
He is the project manager that is there to help Isla um, turn this old foundry, this train
Mm-hmm.
foundry, into a craft brewery
Which is
distillery.
such a cool idea.
It is okay. Can I just say something? I thought the name was stupid. Everybody calls the building the foundry.
Why wouldn't you just
Why
keep it the
wouldn't you just
foundry?
lean into that?
I
But she
agree.
was going to call it the reserve barrel to go. Like, then that kind of confused me because if you're going to call a beer, like, if you're going to call it the reserved barrel with a barrel themed, like,
Yeah.
oil kind of thing, why wouldn't you then do whiskey? Like, for a craft brewery, I think.
I think that was my big hang up too. I didn't like the name either. Like I thought she really should just lean into the foundry, and
Because
then
that's
she
what
could
everyone
like,
called it.
well, and then go with like the oil themes for like the beer names or something like
Or
that. But
train themes,
but
tanker.
that is a moot
Listen,
point.
I needed to focus on that for a minute. McCoy is the project manager. He is there working for McDaniel Construction,
Yes.
which is owned by his
By his
mother,
mom.
Sylvia. Now, Isla was smart. She had done all her research. She went online. She went looking. She found this company. They specialize in turning buildings into breweries.
Hmm.
And McCoy himself has a history in brewing. He ran
Yeah.
a successful brewery with his ex wife in Nashville. And he kind of has a dark tale of a past
Yeah.
because
We have some hangups.
he has he his biological father was abusive to him and his mother.
Hmm.
His stepfather was well known in construction, but also in brewery, and kind of created this company that Sylvia is managing now, and the stepdad has passed.
Yeah.
He got out of his brewery not because he wanted to, but because he got screwed over by his ex-wife. And I don't want to spoil who else was involved in that because it plays into the story a little bit as to
Yes.
why he is afraid to trust. Now, I'm going to say this, but I love this book. I want you guys to know I love this book. I recommend this book. McCoy was a shitty ass hero. I hated him. I hated him because he plays games.
He does.
Not so much in the relationship with Isla, but as so many people around her are just ignoring her or forgetting she exists, he's dicking around with her and her dream.
He is. Well, and it's the fact that like he could have stopped it,
A lot
but he
sooner.
didn't. But he didn't. He
No.
didn't stop it. And that's the thing. Like he is so blinded by what happened in his past that he just stereotypes her and is like, it doesn't matter. She's gullible, like she is naive.
Well, and
And
I get a
once,
mama's boy. He was a mama's boy. He felt he owed his mother, not just for this opportunity that she was giving him because of his past, but
yeah.
because of what she had been through before.
Mm-hmm.
But he is written like such a freaking mama's boy that it is obnoxious to the point that like I really just wanted her to like kick him out. And she does. Um when it comes
When push comes to shove, and
and
she,
realizes that, he kind of, and I don't want to spoil this for anybody, he makes
but,
some choices,
well, the thing is,
but
he doesn't choose her, and that's the big thing.
and he
Like
doesn't
that's not
grovel.
spoiling anything.
He
He
did
doesn't
not grovel
choose
enough.
her.
When he
No, he doesn't
comes
grovel
back,
enough.
because there is a third act breakup, he does not grovel enough to, in my opinion, for her to be like, come on back.
Yeah.
We'll do this together. Like,
He does grovel a little bit though, so he's not a Nico
oh no,
level of
he was,
non-groveling.
no, like, kick him to the curb. I, honestly, if the emotions hadn't been so good in this book, I probably would have chucked my Kindle and been done. But because of the way that it's written and the emotion that's written into it, I just identified so much with Isla and her journey that I didn't care about McCoy. And what a dummy,
He is a
dummy
dummy.
he is.
Yeah. He is a dummy. And it's one of those things where the emotion and Isla really carry this book in her story. And honestly, Cameron and Naomi, like their secondary story of growth, like they make this book.
They do. And honestly, like I loved Stetson and his story with Isla's best friend. I thought that book was great. We did a happy hour with Marie. It was a great read. But in this book, I don't have a lot of love for them right now. Like, so maybe she needs to write us like an extended epilogue, a newsletter exclusive, or something that makes me love the family again. Because like I'm fine to go on to the next series. I'm excited for it. I know where she's going when she's spinning this off. But there were things in this, especially McCoy. And
Well, but I wonder if we did not identify with Isla the way that we do, if we would have different feelings about it.
we might. I think,
And I think that's part of it. Like the fact that like we do have similar issues.
but I also think, especially for Isla, she had a not great relationship with her mother.
Yeah.
Like there was animosity, there was a lot of angst between her and her mother. So she thought she had found this very formidable but compassionate businesswoman in Sylvia. And at the end of the day, instead of Naomi and Cameron being the villains like they had been in previous books, Sylvia and by default McCoy become the villains.
Yeah.
And I don't think there was enough redemption. Like, I was okay with them getting together. I'm okay with their happily ever after. I totally believe in it. But I wouldn't have invited Sylvia to the wedding or the opening or anything.
No. I mean, unless you're wearing your petty pants.
I would have been wearing my petty pants big because she did some. Anyway,
She did her dirty. We'll just say that. She did her dirty.
I'm not going to spoil it for anybody, but just be prepared that it's the emotion in this book that saves it.
It's the emotion in this book that carries it. Like, honestly, it carries it. It's a good read. You do not want to miss it, but you will want to do some dick punching.
A lot.
Just throwing that out there.
Anyway, anything else we should know about?
No, just read the book. But you can start with this one, and then you can go back to book 1 and work your way through, or you can just really start wherever. They're all delightful.
Okay. Leah, thank you for joining me for this quick shot of romance.
Anytime.
Until next time, everyone.
Happy reading, everybody.
Find us on Instagram at BuzzingAboutRomance or on Twitter at BuzzingRomance. If you like the podcast, please leave a review. If you'd like to support us directly, join the Bookcase and Coffee Patreon and receive exclusive content only available to Patreon members. Check out bookcaseandcoffee.com for our on-the-shelf show notes.